need you.
Yes,
I'm not saying it's personal, but we actually don't.
Yes, we do.
Well, there was a great episode that happened, I believe it was Survivor, where men and women were divided up into groups, and the men were sent to an island to survive, and the women were sent to an island to survive. Now, interestingly enough, the men lasted a lot longer than 3 days without the women. In fact, they were thriving. They were eating everything that, hang on, stop. They were eating everything that they could possibly find. They were eating like kings. They rediscovered fire with nothing but their own minds, while the women were freezing to death. They literally gave up within just a couple of days and begged the men to go to their campfire. But we wouldn't last 3 days without women. If men were gone, who would maintain the infrastructure?
Well,
go ahead and lie to me and say women.
No. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying that each man is just null and void. I'm simply saying that women need to have an extra layer of reverence and protection and respect.
Good Lord, I can't.
Men created this table, them chairs, they fight in the wars for us. Women choose to be in different, like, easier job titles. Teachers. I'm not saying being a nurse is easy.
Teaching's not easy.
Teaching's very hard.
It's not.
It's a very safe, easy job. Men don't really have a choice. They have to do these hard jobs because who else is going to do it? We're not going to actually choose to be an electrician. We're just not.
I don't know.
If you had to choose between being an electrician or being an at-home wife, you're going to be an at-home wife and get taken care of.
But I'm just saying, men are providers, so go do that job. Go learn a trade. Go do something, you know?
Well, you said that's all they're good for.
Yeah.
And what are you good for?
A lot of things.
Like?
I'm funny. I'm smart.
You haven't demonstrated that yet.
Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Of those qualities
I'm a musician.
neither
I dance.
You dance?
The list goes on and on.
What a great quality. You can dance.
This is what happens when men refuse to hold women to the same moral standards as men.
So I had a conversation with my homegirl a couple of weeks ago. She called me during lunch. Baby, let me tell y'all something. I am a foodie. I do not like answering the phone whenever I'm eating because I love for my food to be hot. But if I love you, I'll take the phone call. She's upset. She's screaming. She's crying. She's mad. She goes into why she's upset. Then she starts kind of spiraling. She starts saying, I don't need him, talking about her husband. I don't need him. I can do this alone. I can leave him right now. I'm going to leave him. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Each time that she had a break in that rant that she was going on, I tried to speak. She wouldn't allow me to speak. My friends already know. I'm the person, I don't like to therapize my friends unless I absolutely need to. But I am really big on helping people understand that sometimes when your emotions are so high, it clouds your judgment and you say very irrational things and you act irrationally.
Of course, good old emotions. How would women divert taking accountability for their actions if good old emotions didn't exist?
Now, granted, as I'm listening, I realized that what he did, it didn't warrant this reaction. This is something else that's going on. She's going on the deep end, okay? And like I said, I like my food to be hot. So I'm eating, I'm listening, but I really don't like to be disturbed when I'm eating. So I'm like, all right, hold on, honey. You're going to let me speak? You're going to give me a little moment? I'll let you vent. Like, at this point, this is over 30 minutes. I've let you vent. I've let you get it out. Do you want me to say anything? And she's like, no. She's like, I already know what you're going to say. No, I don't want to hear that right now. Okay, that's fine.
If you are not willing to listen to what the other person has to say, then you should not talk to them. I know, a lot of morons, experts, say that, no, women just want someone to listen to them talk, they just want to vent and then they will feel better after. I say F that ish. Because at the end, after we have listened to that demented rant, valid or not, the problems still exist. I personally believe that the reason why women do that is because, since the time they are little, they are allowed to speak about their problems, but they are exempted from the nitty-gritty let's solve this problem part of things. So, they talk, believing that people are obligated to validate their feelings and entertain them.
I've listened to this conversation. I've listened to you speak and run in circles. And not one time, because it seemed like every time you got quiet, you wanted me to interject. That's what it seemed like to me. But then when I did so, you'll start talking over me. So, I told you, you know what? I'm going to let you figure that out. Whenever you're ready to have a conversation about this and actually work towards a solution, you can call me. But as of right now, I'm going to enjoy my food boundaries. Now, to get to the point, After a couple days passed by, once, she was kind of like resolved in her mind, her temper was better, she was able to actually process things, she calls me. Unfortunately, the damage was already done in her marriage. But she calls me and she says, I need your help. Okay. All right. Now we're working with something. Now, let me make sure that I have the capacity to be able to help you. Luckily, that day I did. So she was like, in this situation, Kitty, what would you tell a couple? Okay. The main thing is that she kept on saying that she didn't need her husband. My first go-to is, did you tell him that? Did you tell this man that you didn't need him? She says yes. Oh, you stupid. Lord Jesus. Okay. How did that go? What was his response? He blew up. Okay, well, if you don't need me, I don't need to be here. They ended up sleeping in separate beds that night, didn't talk to each other for a couple of days. So then I asked her, okay, do you feel like you don't need him? I don't need him. I don't need him. I can do this alone. I'm independent, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. So leave him. That's not the answer I wanted, Kitty. Well, stop saying that you don't need him. You married this man. This is your partner in life. Stop telling your spouse that you don't need him. This is your husband. So if you don't know, I'm all about perspectives. So let's look at different perspectives. All right. You say you don't need your husband. All right. You got friends? Yeah. You need your friends? Absolutely, I need my friends. Okay, why do you need your friends? We go down a list. They're my support. Whenever I'm going through things, I can talk to them. We share memories. We laugh together. We go through life together. All of that. Okay, you need your friends. Do you have those same moments with your husband? I hear her smack her lips. No, let's be for real. Let's be for real. Do you not share laughter with your husband? Do you not get through life with your husband? Do you not get different perspectives and advice and support and encouragement and things like that from your husband? Yeah. In that moment, you didn't. Or am I mistaken? She goes, in that moment, I didn't. I felt like I wasn't getting the right amount of support. So you just completely cut off your husband and say you done with him. You don't need him because in a moment, he had something that pushed against. Or maybe in a moment he had a just human fault, because we're human. He had a moment where he couldn't be the support that you needed. But whenever your friends can't be supportive or they're going through their own things, you don't say that you're going to cut your friends off.
It's all about power. Shame, insults, guilt tripping, nagging, passive aggressiveness, they are all emotionally abusive tactics that women use in order to gain power over men. The goal is to make the man feel so bad and so inadequate that he will reduce himself and get in line with what the woman wants. Guys, don't let anyone lie to you. This is not a matter of evolution, or whatever else BS that people use to excuse women's lapses in morality. Women know what they do, women are perfectly aware of how they use these tactics, and what are the goals of doing so. Her friend went to her because things didn't go as she thought. She is looking for an ally who will come and fix it for her. This problem could have been easily fixed if she apologized to her husband, but we can't have that, can we? Because asking for forgiveness actually requires humility. And women will rather die before they can apologize. So, she was looking for an accomplice to help her share the load of being wrong with her husband.
I hear her choke up. All right, so I'm like, all right, let me lighten up, because I hear she's crying and stuff now. She's trying to hide the fact she's crying, but you can hear about her nose sniffs and all that stuff. All right. And so I'm like, all right, let me slow down with you real quick. Exactly what do you need from me right now? And she was like, tell me exactly what you would tell your couples. So I tell her, baby, men need to be needed. That's where their sense of purpose comes from. That's where a lot of their fulfillment comes from. Men are taught to be protectors, providers, problem solvers, and they want to feel valuable. And so they really need those meaningful connections. That's how they express their love and care. Now, even with these roles, it doesn't mean that they will not drop the ball. They're humans. When we speak of human element, people go through things. People have life experiences, situations that sometimes alter the way they see things. It alters their empathetic responses, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It just means that in that moment, they probably can't give you the response that you actually need. But then she goes, well, why did he draw back? Why did he just walk out? Why did he just stop talking to me? Because you told him you don't need him. If he doesn't feel valued, you simply don't need him. You just hit his confidence, right? You just really took a jab at his esteem. Why is he going to be motivated to do more when you just specifically told this man, in other words, he's not valuable to you? I pull back then and I say, okay, let me not come from a psychological standpoint. Let me talk to you as your sister in Christ. You are a believer of God. When you married your husband, you came together under God, and God granted you that union. So now we need to make sure that we keep this union together, tight knit, even in these hard moments. We do so. That's your partner through life, through the good and the bad. Your husband is your sounding board during difficult times, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have his own difficult times. And in their nature of being strong, because that's the expectation and that's the way they've been conditioned, men don't always show that. They don't always show those moments of weakness. So from a more biblical standpoint, I say, you need your husband. Let's get into the word. I said, the word says that your husband is supposed to support and guide you and your family to faith. That is in the book of Ephesians, honey. God gave Eve to Adam. Adam needed a companion. But even when he gave Eve to Adam, they both became partners in life. They were one another's support. They loved one another. They processed and went through life with one another, regardless of what happened. You need your husband. That is your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual safeguard. He is the provider and the protector of you, your marriage, your home, baby. Ephesians 5:25 talks about your husband loving you as Christ loved the church. That's sacrificial love. What better love than sacrificial love to understand selflessness and commitment? We need that as wives.
Strange how she forgot to mention what comes before that. That the woman should respect, obey, and submit to her husband. There are a lot of verses in the Bible that talk about women being respectful and submitting to their husbands. As a matter of fact, the Bible even say that it is the woman who is more likely to destroy her own marriage than anything else. She is talking about the Bible that she recognized that her friend was out of line, but she didn't put her feet to the fire and made her apologize, because there is no debate in that. When you are wrong, first thing you should apologize. This is why Paul the Apostle said that women should not have a say in church. They pick and choose passages that make them feel good, and they use the Bible as a tool to shame people, more precisely, men, and unfortunately, that's the norm in 99% of churches thanks to simps.
We need to experience that. We need our children to see that. Not only is he your husband, he's your children's father. He plays a significant role in the household. A father's active role in the household is important. In our household, we need support, we need guidance, we need direction that sometimes we as wives and mothers simply cannot give. And the children's father, your husband, is there for moral development. He is absolutely necessary. The word speaks on the importance of a husband and a wife's union. We need that. So she listens and she actually takes it all in, and she's like, you know what, Kay, this is why I love you. I can't stand you because you get me together, but I love you. And I say all things with love. My circle, they already know what it is. But let me tell you something, as I would tell any of my clients, when your emotions are high, your judgment is clouded. And a lot of times when we're operating from such intense emotions, we say very hurtful things that are consequential, that we cannot take back. We can't take those things back. Be mindful of what you say when you are angry. Be slow to saying angry things. Those brash, hurtful things, be slow to them. And I understand that in a moment you're so upset, but baby, you got to get that together. Because it's so much power in telling a man you don't need him. There's so much power in you telling your husband you don't need him. Don't let the enemy come into your marriage. First of all, don't let the enemy attack your husband, because the enemy can use you to attack and break down your husband.
The enemy, aka the devil, aka Satan, doesn't need to attack men. He knows that women will do that for him for free, since they are both on the same frequency.
Okay? We need our significant others. As wives, we need our husbands. And husbands need their wives. Remember that. Okay? Bye, babies.
The reason why she felt so comfortable telling that to her husband is not only because of the culture of the land, but it is also because she knew that there is absolutely nothing that her husband can do, there is nowhere he can go, and there is no one who will take his side even if he is right, and she also knew that she will face no consequences for disrespecting her husband, be it any sort of backlash from their mutual friends or from their church leaders. People always talk about emotions. Are emotions capable of clouding your judgment? Yes, but that doesn't mean that you lose all sense of self. Women are perfectly able to keep themselves in check when dealing with their employers, but somehow when they are dealing with their husbands, all of a sudden now we are blaming emotions for the poor behavior they display. really make me wonder, do women really have moral agency? If yes, why are we talking about emotions when they behave poorly, and if no, why allow them to benefit of the same rights as men? But again, at the end of the day, life is a choice. That will be it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Thanks for watching, have a good one.